He's fired. He's just a slacker." Chief Brown, who had come for an inspection from the headquarters, shouted so loudly it echoed throughout the company. The colleagues around me were stunned by the outburst. After graduating from college, I dedicated 28 years to this company, thinking I had given my all. I had no reason to be called a slacker. I decided to resign and leave the company. But soon after, Chief Brown would come crying and begging to me. "My name is Ethan, 50 years old. I consider myself a nondescript man with no particular talents. Since I was young, I've suffered from asthma, often ending up in the hospital. Each time, my parents were by my side, taking care of me. Looking back, I might have been an ungrateful child. Although my health stabilized somewhat after becoming a college student, I still had days when the change of seasons would make me sick and bedridden. Despite all odds, I was able to join my current company as an employee right after graduating from college. I was working at the sales administration, mainly organizing documents for the sales staff. This job didn't require going out much like the salespeople, nor did it involve meetings, so there were no bothersome tasks. Being able to work quietly at my own pace was ideal for someone with poor health like me. Grateful just to have a job, I had no ambitions for promotion and remained a rank-and-file employee, even after 28 years of service. There were opportunities for advancement, but I loved my current job. However, some of the younger employees relied on me, and others would strike up conversations. Talking with the younger generation was fun and stimulating. I was living fairly fulfilling days at the company. Nothing left here. One morning, as I was getting ready to leave for work as usual, "I'm good, thanks. I'm off. Take care." Mariah sent me off with a smile. I met Mariah 20 years ago through a friend's introduction, and we got married. We didn't have children, but Mariah and I have built a good relationship over 20 years. She always worries about me and puts me first, for which I can't thank her enough. I'm truly glad I got married. When I arrived at the company and entered, it was somewhat noisy. A younger colleague, Smith, approached me excitedly. Smith joined a company 20 years after me and is a dear junior who's fond of me. The Chief Brown from headquarters will be here for an ocular inspection. That's where everyone is busy tidying up their desks. Chief Brown. Jay, the person who took over after Chief Garcia. Oh, I see. Actually, Chief Garcia was the head until last month, but he fell and retired. Chief Brown was his successor. Chief Garcia used to invite me for drinks often before he fell. I was grateful for Chief Garcia inviting me out for a heart-to-heart talk at the bar. Moreover, he always had kind words for me. When I heard he had fallen ill, I left work early and rushed to the hospital to pay a visit. It was a real shock to hear that Chief Garcia had to retire. I had hoped that Chief Brown would have a pleasing personality, similar to Chief Garcia's. But I've heard rumors that Chief Brown is quite arrogant. Really? Well, rumors are just that. He might be a nice person for all we know. I laughed and took my seat, trying to brush off the gossip. My colleagues on either side were tidying up their desks, but I started my work. There's no need to clean up just because Chief Brown is visiting. The point of an inspection is to show how things naturally are. I began compiling a massive amount of documentation. My job involves compiling documents and processing data, such as invoices, encoding received orders, and purchase orders. Our company deals with over 50 different companies, regardless of their sizes. That's why my job has always been busy. Then, a female colleague approached me. "Mr. Ethan, you have a call from our business partner, Williams Industries." Got it. I picked up the phone, and the person on the other end was President Williams from Williams Industries. Williams Industries is one of our oldest clients, and I have a long-standing relationship with President Williams. "Ethan, about the invoice. I am accustomed to speaking with the CEOs of clients in my sales administration role. President Williams especially often called me. It wasn't just about work. Sometimes, it felt like he just wanted someone to talk to. My son is getting married soon. I've been waiting for this moment for years, and I'm so happy. Sean is getting married. Congratulations." I always made sure to remember the family details of our clients to keep the conversation going. Thanks to that, I've never been at a loss for words with them. "How about we go for a drink sometime soon?" President Williams invited me out, sounding pleased. Of course, I responded with, yes, I'd love to. After hanging up, Smith came over, looking a bit flustered. Chief Brown is currently on the floor below, and it seems like he'll be heading up here soon. Just act as usual. Let's get back to work. Hearing my words seemed to calm Smith down. As I was compiling the documents, Manager Johnson stood up and headed towards the office entrance. There, Chief Brown appeared. Chief Brown looked younger than me by at least a decade. After graduating from a prestigious university, he quickly climbed the ranks and now holds the position of Chief of Headquarters. He's known as a workaholic at the headquarters. Chief Brown, thank you for coming all the way here, Manager Johnson said, a hint of nervousness in his voice. Upon hearing Manager Johnson's voice, my colleagues and I stood up almost simultaneously. I rose to welcome him too. Just then, the office phone rang. As I picked up the call, I realized the caller was the president of another client company. After checking the order documents, the caller initiated small talk, which lasted for about 30 minutes. Throughout the call, Chief Brown seemed to be glaring at me. Once the call ended, Chief Brown approached me directly. You're Ethan, right? I heard from Chief Garcia that you were an excellent sales admin, but to me, you seem nothing but incompetent. Making personal calls during work hours is unthinkable. I was actually speaking with a client's president, not a personal call. I tried to explain, but Chief Brown cut me off with a raised voice. Talking to a client's president like that? Impossible. Don't lie. Angered, Chief Brown glared at me more intensely. I don't know what's going on, but no matter what I say, it doesn't seem to be getting through to Chief Brown. In that case, let's give up. I stopped protesting and resumed my work. Seeing me like that, Chief Brown seemed to be even more displeased, and he started to look clearly suspicious. Then he headed towards Manager Johnson's desk. Meanwhile, Smith quietly spoke to me. Chief Brown seems like a pretty intimidating person, doesn't he? You better watch out. I heard through the grapevine that Chief Brown wasn't too fond of his predecessor, Chief Garcia. Since you were a favorite of Chief Garcia, you might have caught Chief Brown's attention. Smith looked worried. But whether I'm under scrutiny or not, all I have to do is my job. Chief Garcia had appreciated my work, and I wasn't worried at all. I whispered to Smith, I'm all right. But little did I know, Smith's worries would soon become a reality. Lunchtime came around. Chief Brown was still talking to Manager Johnson about something. I took out the lunch Mariah had made for me. When I opened the lid of my lunchbox, there was a large hamburger steak that I love. Mariah has been making lunch for me like this for 20 years, always packing my favorites. And inside the lunch bag, there's always a note saying, "Have a great day at work," which always warmed my heart. Just then, Chief Brown, having finished his talk with Manager Johnson, started walking towards me. Even as I ate, an uneasy feeling washed over me. Chief Brown looked closely at my lunch and snorted, "Don't you have the money to eat out? No wonder. You're just a rank-and-file employee after all." I couldn't believe my ears. It was hard to believe that someone in his position would make such a remark. It seems my colleagues are also surprised. I tried to keep as calm as possible and began to speak. "No, it's just that my wife always makes lunch for me, so there's no need for me to go out to eat." Upon hearing my words, Chief Brown laughed. I had no idea what was so funny. 50 years old, huh? That's 12 years older than me. Not having made it by that age, you're on the losing side. What's this about a loving wife's lunch? Poor Mariah, married to a guy without money. There's no way Mariah would think that. Talking nonsense without knowing anything. I was irked from the bottom of my heart, but decided to act maturely. Maybe you're right. With that, I closed my lunchbox. I couldn't stand being in the same room as this person. I'll eat somewhere else. Thinking this, I stood up with my lunch. Then Chief Brown started laughing again. "What? Running away? You're indeed a loser. Oh well, this person is nothing like Chief Garcia. He's utterly rotten." I could only sigh. I left quickly and went to the company's rooftop, where many of my colleagues were already gathered. That person is really unbelievable. We're living in a 2024, you know. That approach just won't cut it. The whispers I could hear were all condemning Chief Brown. It appears Chief Brown looks down on employees who are in positions lower than his. As I was stuffing my face with the hamburger steak Mariah had made for me, I was hoping Chief Brown would leave soon. Then, Smith came up to me with a brown bag. "Ethan, you escaped too, huh?" I couldn't stand the atmosphere either, so I decided to eat up here today. "Is that so?" As I quietly continued eating my hamburger steak, Smith shared something interesting while munching on store-bought sandwich. I overheard Manager Johnson and Chief Brown talking in the office earlier. Smith began to spill the beans. Chief Brown is still unmarried, single, and is taking care of his mother while working. Allegedly, he mentioned that he wanted to keep getting promoted to cover the cost of the nursing home where his mother will be staying. At this moment, his younger sister is looking after their mother during the day, but he plans to send her to a nursing home soon. I understood that Chief Brown, despite his haughty demeanor, has his own set of challenges. However, that doesn't justify his harsh treatment towards us, his subordinates. That's probably why he can't stand seeing you married and working freely, Ethan. Smith said this with a solemn expression. I see, but I can't forgive Chief Brown's attitude. You're right. After finishing our lunch break, Smith and I returned to the office. The afternoon work began. Since I didn't see Chief Brown around, I thought he had already left and felt completely relieved. I returned to my desk and resumed my duty. Then, I got another call from President Williams, our client. I don't have anything specific, but I just felt like talking to you, Ethan. Is that so? I'd like to talk too. Let's chat. I couldn't help but laugh at this exchange with President Williams. I believe that building a rapport with clients through casual conversations like this is important. This way, I'm confident we can maintain a long-term relationship. I was convinced of that. While enjoying a conversation with President Williams, Chief Brown walked back into the office. Even while on the phone, I couldn't believe my eyes. Chief Brown hadn't gone back to headquarters yet. He started listening to the conversation, standing close by with his arms crossed. When the call ended and I looked at Chief Brown, he had a puzzled look on his face. You seem to be getting all excited over casual conversations again. That call had nothing to do with work. With all due respect, as I mentioned earlier, this is also a part of our job. Hearing my words, Chief Brown got angry and raised his voice. How incompetent can you get? Using the company's important phone lines for chit-chat is outrageous. This is why you've never advanced in your career. Now I see clearly. The office fell silent. Manager Johnson just looked flustered and didn't try to help me. Lost for words, Chief Brown made a shocking suggestion. Newly hired employees will soon be joining the company. Why not make room for the rookies? Your seat isn't sacred. My desk, you say. My colleagues were in an uproar. I was confused and didn't know how to react. Then, Chief Brown continued to insult me. This company doesn't need anyone useless. You're utterly useless to this company. It's high time you found a workplace that matches your incompetence. Are you saying I'm unnecessary to this company? Words spilled out of my mouth. I couldn't understand why I was being treated this way. Then, Chief Brown burst into loud laughter. Yes, exactly. The business runs without you. You're just dead weight. Anger started to shape my body. I had never been treated as a burden before. I had always received gratitude. I found it unforgivable that he treated me as an inconvenience without knowing anything about me. Chief Brown, with all due respect, I have been working diligently for the past 28 years, wanting to be of use to this company. To say such a thing is cruel. I glared at Chief Brown as I spoke, but the chief glared back after hearing my words. Whether you've worked hard or not is not for you to decide. Besides, I'm in a much higher position than you, so isn't it absurd for you to tack back to me? Chief Brown said this and sighed. Then, he turned to Manager Johnson, instructing, He's fired. He's just a slacker. Manager Johnson's eyes went wide with surprise. I can't make that decision on my own. Faced with a bewildered Manager Johnson, Chief Brown raised his voice. I'm the chief here. My orders are absolute. Yes, sir. So, Ethan, unfortunately, you don't need to come in from tomorrow. Thanks for everything. Let's have a grand farewell party for you today. Chief Brown had fired me. I was too stunned to speak. As the office buzzed with commotion, Manager Johnson approached me. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I can't go against Chief Brown. But I'll reach out to some companies I know about for your future job. Manager Johnson said this with a look of regret. You don't need to do that for me. It's not your fault that I was fired, so please don't worry about it. Though I said that, I was a bit disappointed in Manager Johnson. He should have known better than anyone how much I've contributed to this company. I had hoped he would take my side, even if just a little. That's when Smith came up to me. Ethan, why aren't you saying anything back? At this rate, you are really going to be fired. Smith whispered to me so that no one else could hear. Smith, it's okay. Even if I fought back now, it probably wouldn't change anything. Then Smith said, if Ethan can't say it, I will, and was about to say something to Chief Brown. I desperately stopped Smith. If Smith confronted Chief Brown now, he would surely be fired too. It's okay, really. I had always worked for the sake of this company. I never took a day off dishonestly, nor did I ever think of slacking off. It was sad to have to leave the company, but I wanted to prepare the environment so that my successor could have an easier time with their work. I wasn't sure if I had enough time, but I started to hurriedly prepare the handover documents. As part of my resignation process, I called our clients to inform them of my departure. The presidents of the client companies said they would miss me. Just hearing those words made me feel that working here was worth it. Chief Brown announced loudly enough for the whole office to hear. Ethan's farewell party will be at the pub near the company from 6 p.m. The expenses are on the company, so everyone, please join. I am really leaving. I thought this as I rushed to prepare the handover documents. I should also message Mariah before that. I might surprise her. Thinking this, I sent a message to Mariah. A few minutes later, Mariah replied, "Thank you for your hard work so far. From now on, I will work if needed, and let's think about the future together as a couple." Mariah's message was filled with kindness. I was nothing but grateful to Mariah. When the clock struck the end of the workday, Smith approached me. "Ethan, are you really going to leave? Let's protest to the headquarters." Smith seemed unable to give up, desperately appealing to me. But having been denied all my efforts up to now, I felt I couldn't stay here any longer. I've already made up my mind. Hearing my words, Smith looked sad. "Ethan, let's go to the farewell party together." I had planned to leave without attending the farewell party, but I couldn't do that thinking about Smith's feelings. I cleaned around my desk. Today was the last day at this desk. I was filled with a sense of loneliness. After getting ready to leave, I left the company I had served for 28 years. Exiting the company with Smith, I took a long, hard look at the building that housed the office I worked in. This was really goodbye. Smith watched me quietly as I did this. The venue for the farewell party was a pub right near the company. Despite it being the middle of the week, all my office colleagues had come to join. Seeing me, my colleagues said one after another, "It's unbelievable that Ethan is being let go. We'll miss you." I deeply felt how fortunate I was to have such wonderful colleagues and a happy career as a company employee. I looked around. Chief Brown had not arrived yet. Encouraged by my colleagues, I took a seat in the middle of the table. "Come on, Ethan, have a drink." Smith generously filled my glass with beer. We all raised our glasses for one last toast. Chief Brown has no idea how much Ethan has helped me. After a while, Smith, who had started to get drunk, kept repeating the same thing over and over again. There were moments when he was so moved that he started to shed tears. Hey, don't drink too much. What will we do if Chief Brown shows up? I really want Ethan to continue working here. If Ethan leaves, this company is doomed. It won't come to an end." As we were having this conversation, the door to the pub opened and Chief Brown and Manager Johnson walked in. "Sorry we're late." They sat down next to me. I just watched quietly. Then, Chief Brown immediately started with his sarcasm. "Despite being busy, we've gone out of our way to hold a farewell party for a dull old man like you. You must have something to say, right?" Chief Brown glared at me, beer in hand. I simply responded, "Thank you for organizing this gathering. I never asked for a farewell party, and honestly, I didn't even want to attend." I felt anger bubbling up inside me. "Well, we appreciate you making space. We can now bring in a more suitable employee. Is that so? Then, I'm glad." Watching our exchange, Smith, visibly frustrated, raised his voice. I'm worried about what will become of this company without Ethan here." Hearing Smith's words, Chief Brown laughed. "Do you honestly believe this company can function without this old man? You're gravely mistaken. Right? I hope that won't be the case." Smith said something profound, surprising everyone. The farewell party, despite Chief Brown's sarcasm, ended smoothly, thanks to Smith and other colleagues' support. Afterward, I thanked Smith and the others again. "Thank you all so much. Because of you, I was able to enjoy my work. If you ever need anything, feel free to call me anytime. Ethan, take care." "Thank you. I'm about to start a different journey in life, but I'll never forget the colleagues I've worked with." I went home slowly. At home, Mariah was waiting and offered me words of comfort. The next day, with no need to go to the company, I experienced a relaxed morning. For lunch, Mariah and I planned to visit a nearby restaurant for the first time in a while. "Having lunch with you on a weekday feels like a dream," Mariah said. "Yeah, I was always working, never had time like this. Maybe I'll take it easy with Mariah for a while." Hearing my words, Mariah seemed happy. Then, before 9 a.m., my phone rang. Who could it be, I wondered, checking the screen to see a call from Manager Johnson. I thought maybe I left something behind, but whatever it was could be mailed to me later. Given it was the day after everything happened, I didn't want to talk to Manager Johnson, so I decided to ignore it. By lunchtime, I was getting ready to go to the restaurant with Mariah, but my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Manager Johnson kept calling me repeatedly. While ignoring all his calls, our home phone began to ring. Mariah hurried to answer it. After a while, Mariah came to me and said, "Honey, there's a problem at the company, and Chief Brown wants you to come in right away." A problem at the company? From Chief Brown? I was puzzled, but now that I had resigned, it had nothing to do with me. But if there was a problem, Smith and my other colleagues might be in trouble. After some thought, I decided to go to the company. Before I could apologize to Mariah, she said, "It's okay. We can have lunch another time. Go and help your company." Mariah readily agreed to let me go to the company. "Thank you." With that, I hurried out of the house and headed to the company. Upon entering the company, the phones were ringing off the hook, and my colleagues were bustling about. Seeing me, Smith approached with a look of relief. "You came. That's great. The company is in a real mess right now." While Smith was frantically explaining the situation to me, Chief Brown's gruff voice came from behind. "Ethan, sit down at your desk and handle these calls from the clients now. They are threatening to withdraw transactions unless you are returned." What? I hadn't imagined my leaving would lead to this. Over the last 28 years, I had worked hard to build trust with every client president. I not only handled phone calls but also visited clients and exchanged letters. Trust isn't something that can be built overnight. I had spent years building it, and it showed. Smith and Chief Garcia were aware of my efforts. Manager Johnson also rushed over. "Please, can you come back to the company? Without you, this company can't function." Chief Brown thinks the same. Chief Brown nodded begrudgingly. "At your age, finding another job will be tough, right? You can come back if you want." I couldn't believe my ears. Asking me to come back after getting rid of me yesterday. Are they nuts? I felt my body shaking with anger. I won't be coming back. Besides, I've already secured another job. What? No way. Don't tell me you were fired yesterday and now you've got a new job. There's no need to pretend it's not a big deal. Just come back. At that moment, the door swung open and President Williams of Williams Industries walked in. He looked surprised to see me. "Ethan." I was called in suddenly. "I'll be leaving as soon as I finish up a little business." "Is that so?" "I'm counting on you starting next week," President Williams said cheerfully. Both Chief Brown and Manager Johnson were shocked expressions. "Starting next week? What does that mean?" President Williams sighed. "Ethan told me he was let go despite his dedication to the company, so I decided to hire him. Having an employee as capable as Ethan will surely boost our profits." Chief Brown turned pale. "Ethan, are you really going to Williams Industries?" He looked at me in disbelief. I quietly nodded. "Are you abandoning this company? That's cold-hearted, isn't it?" Chief Brown's voice boomed throughout the company. Everyone turned to look at us. "Who's being cold-hearted? You're the one who fired me, and now we're saying this." My decision won't change. Then this company will go under. Maybe so. But I've already resigned, so it's no concern of mine. As I was about to leave, President Williams raised his voice. I've decided not to do business with companies that look down on their employees. Unfortunately, this means we will terminate our contract with you. I came here today to tell you that. Chief Brown's face turned even paler. President Williams, considering our long-standing business relationship, I kindly request that you reconsider your decision and continue our business partnership. But President Williams was unmoved. You've let a big fish get away, and you should be more generous to your employees. Thank you for everything. With that, President Williams left the company. Manager Johnson tried to follow him, but outside, several client presidents were already there. Each one approached me as they saw me, saying, "I was surprised to hear you're leaving. If you're not here, there's no point in doing business with this company, so we came to end our contracts." The client presidents were all saying the same thing. Manager Johnson and Chief Brown were speechless at the sight. I quietly helped Smith and my other colleagues with the phone calls and left the company discreetly. Afterward, nearly all of the company's over 50 clients were lost, and the company faced a crisis in its business. Manager Johnson was demoted with a pay cut, and Chief Brown was fired as a form of taking responsibility. I heard through the grapevine that Chief Brown is desperately working part-time jobs to cover the expenses needed for his mother's nursing care. This outcome is probably a case of reaping what one has sown. Ethan, great job. Good work. After I joined Williams Industries, Smith also moved and joined the company soon after. Today, just like before, I'm working happily alongside Smith. I committed to work diligently and sincerely for Williams Industries from now on.